Having a baby transformed my entire world in ways I could never have imagined. As the youngest in my family, I had always been the one others looked after, the one people protected and accommodated. But the instant I cradled my son in my arms, everything shifted. The overwhelming responsibility, the endless worry, the sleepless nights. It all crashed over me at once. My name is Gwen, and at 26 I became a mother for the first time. My son, Heath, became the center of my universe. From the moment I heard his tiny, trembling cries in the hospital, I knew my life had found a new purpose. I was determined to give him everything I had. Isn't that what parents are supposed to do? But as I quickly discovered, parenting rarely unfolds the way we expect. That was when my mother-in-law, Trish, entered the picture. She had recently gone through her second divorce and, with nowhere else to go, moved in with us. Her emotional state was fragile. Nervous, unstable, weighed down by years of disappointment. She had given birth to my husband, Hugh, when she was very young, and her past marriages had left deep marks on both of them. I knew she had endured a lot, but after marrying Hugh, I learned something that stunned me. She had another child later in her second marriage, a child she eventually lost custody of. The grief of that loss clung to her like a shadow. When we brought Heath home, Trish was overjoyed. She would hover by his bassinet, staring at him with wide, unblinking eyes, as if she feared he might vanish. A part of me appreciated the attention she gave him, but there was a neediness in her expression that unsettled me, a longing as though she saw in him all the children she had lost or never truly got to raise. One afternoon, while we settled into the living room, she studied Heath with an odd fascination. "So, what are you planning to name him? He looks like a Raymond, or maybe a Carlo. Those are strong names." I gave an awkward laugh. "We already chose his name. He's Heath." "Heath? Oh, I adore it. Can I hold him?" she asked eagerly. I handed him over gently, trusting her experience. She cared for more babies than I had years of adulthood. Hugh and I watched as she cooed over him, but soon his face scrunched and he began to cry. "Here, I'll take him. I think he's hungry," I said, reaching for him. "Nonsense," she insisted, bouncing him. "He just wants someone to fuss over him." I exchanged a worried look with Hugh. "Mom, he's way too little for that," Hugh said calmly. "Let Gwen handle it. He's fine." "I know what I'm doing," she snapped, refusing to give him back. The moment his crying intensified, I couldn't take it anymore. I gently but firmly pulled him from her arms as she resisted, making strange expressions. That was the start of a long, uneasy battle. Trish began waking him whenever he slept, claiming babies didn't need strict feeding or sleeping routines. Anytime I corrected her, she scoffed. "You first-time moms always think you've got it all figured out. No wonder kids these days turn out spoiled." I tried explaining patiently. "Trish, he's only a few weeks old. He needs sleep and regular feeding." But to her, Heath was a distraction, something to pour her emotions into, not a fragile newborn. I talked to Hugh repeatedly, but he brushed off most of my concerns. He worked long hours, leaving me alone with both the baby and his mother's unpredictable mood swings. Meanwhile, I was on unpaid maternity leave, juggling bills and exhaustion. One night, as I paced with Heath trying to settle him, I heard heavy footsteps in the hallway. Trish had woken from a nap and was storming around, mumbling to herself. When I peeked in, she flung the door wide. "You think I should call my lawyer?" she demanded abruptly. "For what?" I asked cautiously. "To get my other child back. Maybe I have a chance. I could prove Tommy isn't fit to raise her." Her ex-husband had custody of her youngest. I felt a wave of sympathy, but I had to be realistic. "Trish, even if you proved he's unfit, it wouldn't guarantee she goes back to you. If both parents are considered unfit, she'd end up in foster care before anything else." Her eyes widened with betrayal and rage. "Are you calling me unstable? I raised Hugh. I gave up my entire life. And now you're telling me I don't deserve my own child. Trish, Heath is my baby. Your daughter isn't here anymore. And before you try to fight for her again, you need help, real help." Her face twisted with anger. "Stop talking. Just stop," she shouted before storming toward the door. I feared she might hurt herself, or worse, try to take Heath, but she left without incident. When I told Hugh everything, he turned the blame on me for letting her leave like that. refusing to acknowledge how serious her behavior had become. And that was only the beginning of what I didn't yet realize would turn into an even deeper nightmare. He had no idea how much she'd been fixating on the baby. Later, she returned home insisting she'd spent the whole afternoon on a park bench, even though she'd only been gone a few hours. She apologized softly and went to lie down, asking if she could put Heath to sleep. I told her no. I wasn't comfortable leaving him with her unsupervised. Days went by and nothing got better. One afternoon while we were tending to a sleeping Heath, she casually asked, "How much does it cost to take care of a baby these days?" I gave her a rough breakdown: diapers, supplies, the cradle, about $1,100 for that first month, not including baby proofing, which can get pricey. "It wasn't nearly that expensive when I had Huey," she said thoughtfully. "Back then I wouldn't have hesitated. Babies are angels until they start crying. But yet, I'd give anything for little Heath." Hearing her call him our baby made my skin crawl, but I tried to brush it off. Eventually she began leaving the house around 5 p.m. every evening, dressed nicely and carrying her purse. I doubted she was dating at her age, so I figured she was taking walks, trying to feel good, maybe working on her mental health. She did start acting more normal around Heath. She'd hand him over as soon as he cried, helped mash his food, and even bought diapers now and then. I felt relieved. She finally seemed calmer, more like herself. I even started considering the possibility of letting her watch him when I returned to work soon. But then one day I heard her playing with Heath in the living room. I'd been caring for him all day and was exhausted. I tried to drift off, but his crying jolted me awake. The moment I sat up, he went quiet. Then I heard her voice. "That's a good boy. That's Mommy's baby. You're mine, my sweet baby. Mommy's going to take such good care of you. We're going far, far away to a lovely place where you'll have lots of toys." I couldn't tell what was pretend and what she meant. When I was fully awake, I noticed the cradle had been moved. It wasn't very heavy, but the idea of her moving it without me noticing made my stomach twist. When I walked into the living room, my heart lurched. She had altered the cradle. She'd hung huge glass Christmas ornaments over it like makeshift mobiles. They were pretty, sure, but they were glass, heavy enough to injure him if they fell. I hurried over and picked Heath up. "What are you doing?" I asked. "He likes them," she said defensively. "Where did you even get these?" "From your storage room. I thought he'd enjoy them." "Trish, these are too heavy. They could hurt him. How did you tie them up?" "What's with all this accusing?" she snapped. "I got him to stop crying and you still complain." "I appreciate that, truly," I said. "And I'm glad you two are bonding. But these ornaments are dangerous. His old plastic mobile wouldn't hurt him if it fell. How'd you get that one down?" "Oh, I just tore it off. Wasn't hard. This is so much prettier." "I don't see the issue. Please, let's take them down. They're not safe." She scowled, reached up and pulled at the ornaments. Two immediately tumbled straight into the cradle, leaving dents in the bedding, right where my baby could have been. Her intentions might have been good, but the execution was terrifying. She left the room without a word and went to sleep in mine. After that, she grew distant. Every morning she'd leave and disappear for hours. When I asked where she was going, she always said, "Just the post office. I'll be back." The main post office was somewhat far, but not far enough for her to be out the entire day. She still whispered strange things into Heath's ears whenever she had a chance and would give me these odd, tight smiles when I caught her doing it. Feeling more and more uneasy, I talked to Hugh again. "I told you," he said. "She's trying to get better. Why can't you be supportive?" "She's still acting strange around him," I insisted. "Telling him she's his mother, trying to teach him her name first. And you don't even know about the glass ornaments. I'm genuinely worried." "You're imagining problems," he said. "She's just helping with our baby. Yes, the Christmas ornaments incident was a mistake, but you handled it, and it won't happen again. Anyway, you need to help her get to the post office or whatever she's really doing there. I've asked her why she goes so often, and she always brushes me off with a vague 'I'll manage,' then disappears until evening. It's obvious she isn't going to the post office every single day. Why wouldn't she tell us the truth? She used to have a job and Darren knows people there. Maybe she picked up some part-time work. But then why hide it? I have no idea. Look, just calm down and stop monitoring my mom. She's harmless. You're turning nothing into something. That's all I said. But I completely lost my patience when he refused to believe me no matter how I tried to explain. The time for me to return to my job was getting closer. I'd known it would come eventually, so I started preparing quietly. One day, when both Hugh and Trish were out, I installed the baby monitor inside the wall where no one would notice it. After I started working again, Trish seemed normal. She stayed home most days, took Heath to play, and put him down for naps. I was only working part-time and always got home early enough. Everything seemed manageable. But then, one afternoon, I heard her talking to Heath through the baby monitor. Her voice made my stomach twist. "You and I are going to fly away. Mama's been working so hard at school, teaching little ones like you all day. Mama has big plans. One day she'll take you away with her," she sang softly. I heard Heath giggle as she lifted him up and whirled around the room. "My sweet little baby. You like spinning, don't you? Of course you do. We'll go far away from this tiny crib. I'll give you a new one with shiny decorations. You'll have a beautiful mama, not like your mother. We'll make Daddy leave her too." "Yes, we will." I froze. What was she talking about? She kept twirling him around until she finally sat. Moments later, Heath started crying. She placed him on the edge of the bed while clutching her head as if dizzy. My heart nearly burst out of my chest. I thought he was going to fall. She grabbed him just in time, put him in the cradle and snapped, "You keep crying and I'm done pampering you in my house. You'll learn discipline from the start. Kids today, honestly." Then she slammed the door. My concern spiraled into fear. I had recorded everything and debated sending it to Hugh, but I needed to be sure I wasn't imagining things. That day I left work early, worry-gutting me. When I opened the door, Trish appeared, exhausted and frazzled, muttered nothing, and shuffled to her bed in the living room. I ran to my room and checked on Heath. He fussed a bit, then drifted off again, still not used to the bottle. Once the house was quiet, I locked the door and started searching. Trish never went anywhere without her oversized purse. I had to find it. After tearing through every possible hiding spot for nearly an hour, I found nothing. Where could she have put it? I went outside, glancing toward the coat rack, and there it was, something hanging beneath a jacket. I eased it down as quietly as possible. Inside, she had been telling the truth. She had a teacher ID from my school. And a plane ticket. A plane ticket for the day after tomorrow. My mind buzzed. She had been planning to take my baby and leave. I pocketed both items and sent Hugh the video, telling him to come home immediately. "This can't be real." "Oh, for God's sake, you're still overreacting," he said at first. But after watching the footage and staring at the ticket and ID, he had nothing left to argue. Everything suddenly made sense. She'd been saving money, making arrangements, plotting for months. She clearly needed serious help. Hugh finally sighed. "I need to call my dad." Jonah answered quickly. Their conversation was painful, but one thing was certain. We couldn't keep her in the house anymore. "You think she should go to a retirement home?" Hugh asked. "That's what I'd do," Jonah replied. "But honestly, she needs psychiatric care first." "So, you want her out of the house permanently?" "Yes. Please." "All right. I'll come over and talk to her." Jonah arrived despite the strained history between him and Trish. When he and Hugh confronted her, the screaming and crying lasted far too long. "He's my son," she insisted over and over. "Trish, you need to leave before we have to physically remove you," Hugh warned. "Oh, I'd like to see you try," she spat. My patience had burned away. After everything she'd done, I wanted her gone, completely gone. "You will never come near this house again. Get out. Stay away from my son," I snapped. "That's enough," Jonah interrupted. "Both of you. Stop." After more arguing, we finally arranged for her to go to a retirement home where they could address her psychological issues. I no longer cared. I was done. I tore up the plane ticket right in front of her. I contacted the school to make sure she'd never be allowed near children again. Maybe I went too far in my anger, but it felt necessary.